What's going on, family? How you doing this morning? I hope you're doing well, man. I'm excited about our conversation on today because ultimately you and I, we can no longer settle for living our lives by default. Today, we're going to talk about living our lives by design. And how many people know that you and I have to put that work in order for us to live our lives on purpose and live our lives in a way that's going to produce the kind of life that you and I absolutely desire. And so that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to put that work in so you and I can live that. So that's our topic on today. Good morning. I hope you're ready to get moving, get pushing, get going, because that's what I'm here to do, to ignite that fire on the inside of you so that you can go after everything that you need to go after. Here is what I want you to understand. Everything you need, that hustle, that grind is inside of you. And what happens sometimes is we allow the things in this world to overcome it and saturate us and pull us down. But we're going to live our life by design, and we're going to be pushing forward. So that's what our topic is today. Live by design. So if you could go ahead and put that in the comment section. If you're watching here on Facebook, want to let you also know I'm in the Clubhouse as well. So if you're on Clubhouse, feel free to follow me on there. But we're talking about today living our lives on design. And that's what we have to do. We can no longer live our lives by default. I like this quote by Rick Warren. Rick Warren said, you're going to go through life either by, number one, design, or by default, number two. He says you're either going to live your life either by design or you're going to live your life by default. And ultimately, you and I have to be committed to living the design life. Come on, somebody. I want you to get that in your mind and in your spirit. I'm living the design life. I'm not living a life on default. I'm living a design life. And we're going to talk about how you live a design life even in the most difficult times in that we're currently living in. You still can live that design life. And so I want you to be able to do that. That's right. That design life, no longer living on default, but we're living by design. Let's look at what it means to live by default. A default life is you may have some dreams, you have a plan, but you don't take action. Hear what I'm saying? You don't take action, and as a result, nothing happens. How many people know that there are people who can talk a dream all day long? They can give you all of the ins and outs of their dreams. They can just sit down and show you all the paperwork related to their dream. But at the end of the day, you ask them, what have you done with what you put down on paper? Or what have you done with your plans? And they may say absolutely nothing. They're living their life by default, and you and I can't live our lives that way because we are living our lives by design. And if we're going to live our lives by design, then in other words, we can't be the kind of people who just write plans, who set goals, but never go after them. Oh, y'all hear me what I'm saying? Goals are important part of the design, an important part of the plan, but we cannot live our life by default. So, for example, an architect, when they're putting together a house, they will get the house laid out. The architect will get things together. And as a result of the architect getting these things together, what happens is they give this then plan to the person who's responsible, to the contractor who's responsible for getting the house built. Now, imagine if having the plan in the hand of the one who's supposed to be getting it built, all they did was sit and look at the plan. That's all they did. They looked at it. They had the resources to get it built. They had the staff to get it built. They had the connections to get it built. But they're like, no, we're not going to be intentional about it because we're going to let it be built by default. That's not going to happen. It has to be built intentionally, and you and I have to do it by design. And I want you and I to be able to work through this process because I know sometimes we are spinning our wheels, we're standing in the same place, or we're on the treadmill expending a lot of energy, and we seem like we've been running a long time on the treadmill, but when the treadmill stops, you realize you're in the same place. Who am I talking to? You've been putting all that energy, you've been moving in that energy, and you've been doing it all the time. And before you know it, with all the energy, and the treadmill says you've ran 5 miles, but then you get off the treadmill and then stop, and you're in the same place. If you're living a life by design, you're not going to be on that treadmill, but you're going to be moving forward. And that's what I want you to do. We're going to begin to live our lives by design. Here's what it means to live your life by design. Living by design means living according to a plan in order to achieve your goals in life. It is intentional effort to achieve the desired outcome. Hear me when I say this. It's intentional effort to achieve the desired outcome. It's not accidental effort. It's intentional effort for you to achieve the desired outcomes. And so you and I, if we're living that design life, we're going to have a plan, we're going to have a goal, and we're going to give it some effort so that we can accomplish what we need to accomplish. That's living the design life. Because you and I understand that at the end of the day, if it's going to happen, it's going to take intentional effort. That means I wake up every single day with purpose action to achieve what the plan says I need to achieve. Come on, hear me when I say this. You wake up every single day with the intentional effort to accomplish everything that you need to accomplish so that you can accomplish your goals and your dreams and the things that are set before you. So you and I, we have to be willing to do that. Why? Because we're living by design. It's not by accident, nor is it by default. It's not going to happen by osmosis. Like, we got to put that work in. We got to be able to put the effort and the energy in so that you and I can accomplish those things that are on our heart. So I want to break down design into an acronym, right? Design. So I can help you. So if you're taking notes, this would be a good time to get your pen out and begin to write these things down, because these are going to be practical things that you can do in order to live by design. Again, I'm giving design an acronym, and I want you to begin to live intentional so that you can accomplish those things. And here's some practical things that you can do to begin to live a life by design. Here's one practical thing you can do. The D is for discipline. Discipline is doing the work when you don't feel like it. Getting the effort done when you don't feel like it. Going after it when you don't feel like it. That's that discipline that'll make you get up when you don't feel like it. If we use workout as an example, if you're working out and you're out there doing what's necessary to get working out, at the end of the day, some days you don't want to go work out. How many people, that's you, right? You say, some days I just don't want to work out. I'm tired of it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do it. But at the end of the day, that discipline will say, even though I don't want to, I still have to go after it because I'm living this life by design, right? So if I'm not living by accident, but I'm living by design, then I've got to have the discipline, which means my effort and my energy that I put in is not dictated by my feelings. I know I'm messing with you right now, because sometimes we can get in our feelings, and I know we got to deal with our feelings and our emotions. I'm not saying ignore it, but I am saying don't let it stop you. The discipline says that even though I don't feel like it today, I'm going to go after it and do it anyway. We got to have a do it anyway mindset, a go anyway mindset. I don't want to go work out, but I'm going anyway. Because once you get there and start working out, how many people know you start to feel like, man, I'm glad I came. I'm glad I went to that workout because I have that discipline to get out there and get it done. So it be it for pursuing your dreams and your goals. You've got to have that discipline to get out and get moving even when you don't feel like it. So get moving when you don't feel like. We got to have that discipline, all right? We want to be able to have that discipline. All right, the other thing is environment. I cannot stress this enough. I cannot stress this enough. If you're going to live a design life, a life by design, environment is so important. The atmosphere that you allow around you is so very, very important. You cannot allow people around you or in your space that bring so much toxic mindset that it stops you from going after what you need to go after. So the environment that you got to protect is the environment of your heart and the environment of your mind. You've got to protect your environment of the things that you, so you can accomplish what you need to accomplish. There's a word I want to introduce to you that you may already know, but it's ecological systems theory. And as we're dealing with this whole idea of environment and things around you, I want to introduce this term just to make a point. The ecological systems theory was developed by Urie Bronfenbrenner, and he offers a framework which the community psychologist examines an individual's, here it is, relationship within communities and the wider society. Okay, so it's going to examine the relationships that's connected to the person and then how they are connected to the broader society. All right, and so you and I, we want to make sure that our ecological system that we have around us is a supportive system. Now, this system is generally gone through with young people, but I believe it applies to adults as well, as you and I are working with creating the kind of environment that we need to create for ourselves. All right. And so here it is. In the middle, you have the individual. All right. That's where it all starts. The ecological systems theories, it always starts with the individual first. And then after that, you get the microsystems. Now, the microsystems are the places and the people that you interact with on a consistent basis. These are people you're connecting with on a consistent basis. It could be family, it could be friends, it could be your co-workers. These are people who are part of your microsystem. It could be the people you're connected to in your church or your community, your religious community, your neighbor. But at the end of the day, these are people who you interact with on a daily basis. This is the sacred circle. This is the place where you really have to hone in on what you are allowing in your environment or in your microsystem. Because in those microsystems that you have in your life, you don't want to set the kind of environment that won't produce the life by design. Hear me. In your microsystem, you want things working to help propel you to where you need to go. And so there may be certain people that you need to pull into your microsystem. And those people who you pull into your microsystem could be a mentor, could be someone who is willing to be a sponsor and get you where you need to go. But at the end of the day, you're having that consistent conversation because you're not trying to live your life by accident, but you're trying to live that life by design. That's right. You want to make sure that you set the right environment in your system. And then after that, you have the mesosystem. And the mesosystem is the degree that those systems interact with one another. So every once in a while, it's good to try to bring those systems together so that you'll be able to support each other as you're going after your dreams. So for example, you may have a good friend at work and a good friend that you've met and been with for years, and you bring them together over a Zoom conversation and you talk about your dreams, and you all are building on what you need to do. Share with them your hopes and your dreams, and they'll say, okay, we're going to hold you accountable. Now we got a person that's holding you accountable at work, a person that's holding you accountable who your friend that you're going to talk to, who you have a personal relationship outside of work, and at the end of the day, they're going to help you live this life by design. And so that's developing the mesosystem. And the greater degree that those systems can communicate, the more stronger the support system that you have around yourself. And then you have the exosystem, right? This is the things like mass media, your neighbors in your neighborhood and things of that sort, the extended family, and even some of the things that's happening in our world. Like we've seen what happened this following week. And at the end of the day, you and I have to still be living a life by design. There are certain things that are going to impact us that are out of our control. And that may impact us in terms of our emotions. It may impact us in terms of our way of life, like the pandemic. But at the end of the day, you and I have to be willing to stay committed to trying to stay committed to controlling the environment as much as possible, that's conducive for you to be able to achieve the things that you're set out to achieve. In other words, I am not going to allow the resistance that I come up against in life to stop me from pursuing what I need to pursue and what I need to go after. And so I want you to know that there's certain things that's happening in the exosystem and the macro system that you and I may not have control over, but we do have control over what's happening in our micro system. And so we have to be willing to connect ourselves with the right people, with the right situations, so we are not allowing the toxic environment around us prevent us from living this life by design. In other words, protect your environment. That's what I'm telling you. You got to protect your environment, the environment of your mind, the environment of your heart. You just can't let anything and anyone in it. You've got to protect it. The next thing you got, if you're taking notes, is the S, which is stir up your gifts. Come on, somebody. You gotta stir. If you're gonna live the life by design, there's a gift and a talent that you have, but don't just let it rest at the bottom, right? I don't know if you've ever gotten some orange juice and the pulp is at the bottom. In order for the pulp to be all through the bottle, you got to shake that thing up. You got to stir it up. And there's so many of us that I get an opportunity to come in contact with who are so gifted and talented, and life has been so difficult for them that they've been living by default and have allowed their gifts and talent to settle at the bottom. Like pulp in an orange juice bottle. It just settles at the bottom and they're not pushing forward. I want somebody today to shake up your bottle, shake up your life, and stir up your gift and begin to put your gift to work so you can live that life of purpose and by design, all right? So we want to be disciplined in what we do. We want to make sure that we're doing what's necessary to be disciplined so we can go after our goals and our dreams and make sure we're doing that. We want to set the environment and then we want to stir that gift up. All right. So we're going to stir our gift up. Why? Because we're living a life by design. The next thing is I want you to get information. All right. You need to gather as much information about what you're trying to accomplish so that you can be informed about how you can move forward in the things. I'm living by design. That means I'm not living by default, which means I'm doing the research. I'm getting the information so I can go after what I need to go after. Last week, we talked about getting out of your comfort zone. And one of the things we talked about in terms of moving out of your comfort zone is making sure you gather the right knowledge in order to be sure you know where you're going. And that's what I want to do today, is encourage you to begin to gather that information so you can stop living life by default, but you're living life on purpose, going after what you need to go after. And you're going to do that because you're gathering the right information. That's right. We're getting that information. So we're going to wake up and we're going to get moving on that information and go after what we need to go after. All right. That's what we're going to do. The G is grip your values. Now, listen, when you're committed to living your life by design, what happens sometimes is we have value compromise. The things that are most important to us, those foundational truths, we sometimes begin to compromise the values that we have. If you're going to live a life by design, I want you to take a hold of, take a grip of those particular things that you know, those values, and don't let it go. I need you to hold on to those values tightly, right? The values, the integrity, you got to hold on to it tightly. At the end of the day, you and I, if we're going to live this life by design, then we got to make sure we're gripping our values and we're not letting those things go, because they're going to serve as the foundation. Hear me. They're going to serve as the foundation for what you and I are seeking to accomplish with our lives. We want to make sure that we have a sturdy foundation. Y'all hear me? That we're standing on and we're doing the things necessary to accomplish our goals and our dreams. But we want to make sure our foundation is in check. Make sure it's in check. All right. So we want to make sure you take a firm grip of your values. So if you're going to live a life by design, the other thing I want you to do is maximize your network. Right. So life by design, we have to make sure we are expanding our network. If your network, the people you talk to on a consistent basis, you're the smartest person, you need to expand your network. If there's some person that you need to get connected to who can help you get where you need to go, you need to expand your network. And by expanding your network, you are positioning yourself to be able to utilize the knowledge that they may have, and then you can share knowledge that you have. And ultimately, both of you begin to grow in your business. You're growing your leadership, you're growing your impact and your influence because you broaden your network. I admire being around people in the room who are brilliant and smart and just are able to show me and demonstrate to me different things that I could utilize in my personal life and in my business. And if I'm going to live a life by design, I have to be sure that I'm expanding my network so that I can begin to develop and bring about the things that I desire to bring about and be effective in doing so. I just don't want you to be doing things just to be doing it, but I want you to be effective at what you're doing. And in order to do that, you have to broaden your network so that you can continue to do what's necessary. So that's living the life by design. All right. That's living that life by design. And so you and I, if we're going to live a life by design, which is an intentional effort to achieve a particular goal, you and I have to understand it's going to take discipline. It's going to take discipline in order to do it. It's going to take putting yourself in the right environment in order for you to accomplish what you need to accomplish. So we got to have that discipline. We got to put ourselves in that right environment so that we can do what's necessary to accomplish our goals. And at the end of the day, my brothers and sisters, we must recognize that as a result of you and I being where we are and being here every single morning, that's the discipline that we have. All right. We've got to have that discipline so that we can continue to press forward and then put ourselves in the environment. That's what this whole group is about. It's about coming together and say, I'm going to live this life on purpose, but I have to be putting myself in the right environment. And so that's what we've got to do. All right. And then after that, you're going to stir up your gift. After you stir up your gift, and you and I are going to grip our values. And after we grip our values, we're going to set up in our network and connect with the right people. Now, let's seek this in scripture. In Psalms 37:23, it says, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his ways. So the steps of a good man are not accidental steps, but these are steps that are ordered by God, that I'm living and I'm walking in a way that is pleasing unto God according to God's direction. In other words, when you and I are living a life by design, we got to make sure we consult the designer. Who am I talking to? We got to have a conversation with the designer through a time of prayer so that we can make sure that the designer is matching up with what God desires for our lives. And my brothers and sisters, I want you to know that by doing so, that when we spend time with God, it allows God to speak with us. It allows God to give us direction and allow God to inspire us so that we can continue to pursue what we need to pursue. And the steps of a good man, they are ordered by the Lord. So I'm not just taking steps by accident. I'm taking steps ordered by God. I'm going after it because it's ordered by God, and he delighteth in his way. All right. And then it goes on to the next verse, and it says, and though you might fall, right? You might make a mistake. You might miss the mark. Here's the thing I got to get you. The design life, it includes moments when you don't get it right. Hear me when I say this. The design life, it includes days when you feel like, man, I absolutely blew it. But it's okay. It's absolutely okay to be in that place when you fall and when you make a mistake. Because as we talked about on last week, we talked about I might not get it right, but I'm going to get it wrong moving in the right direction, right? And so you and I must understand that even though we may fall, we still are living the design life because God can use the fall to teach you a lesson about what he's trying to do. How many people know that we serve a God that can use the fall? He can teach us lessons about what we need to do and how we need to go after it, right? And that's the what we've got to do as a people, as a body of believers. you and I must decide that we are not going to allow the potential of falling to stop us, the potential of failure to stop us, the potential of not getting it right to stop us. You can't allow those things to create such a fear in you that you don't move forward. You have to overcome those fears. Why? Because there's something greater on the inside of you that you're going to accomplish, and the enemy will try to utilize the fall to stop you. Here, hey, man, I'm just trying to drop this here for you so you can get what I'm trying to say. All I'm trying to say is, as a part of the process, you might not get everything right, but you're moving in the right direction. And the scripture says, though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down. Hear me. There's a difference from falling and being utterly cast down. y'all better get this right here. Man. There's a difference from falling and being utterly cast down, right? Because at the end of the day, you and I, my brothers and sisters, we might fall, but God won't let us be utterly cast down. For the Lord upholdeth him in his hand. Because God's going to uphold us as we're pursuing the things that he's called us to pursue. He's going to uphold us. He won't allow us to be utterly cast down. And I'm probably talking to some people on this morning. You know, there's some days when you felt like you couldn't make it. You felt like you weren't able to press forward, but somehow God's hand was able to uphold you and you were not utterly cast down. You made a mistake, but you're still going. It was difficult, but you're still pressing. It was hard, but you kept moving forward. Why? Because at the end of the day, we serve a God that can use our mistake and he'll get the glory out of it. How many people know on this morning, God's got the glory out of some of your falls. He's gotten the glory out of some of your mistakes. He's gotten the glory out of some of your difficulties because it was his hands that held you up in the middle of those difficult moments. Who am I talking to on this morning? It's been God's hand. In fact, you can put that in the comment section if you're watching me on Facebook. I'm telling you, it's been his hands that's been keeping me every single day. And my brothers and sisters, if you're going to start your week this week, if you're going to Castaway, if you're going to thrive, I want you to know that there's God's hand that's holding you up as you're going after everything that you need to go after. So let's live this life by design, so that you and I can accomplish everything God's called us to accomplish. It's not an accident. It's intentional. It's not an accident. It is intentional. So you and I, we're going to live our life by design. We're going to do what God has called us to do. And God's hand is keeping us as we go after it and as we pursue it. And I just believe if we're willing to do that, I just trust God with the rest. That's my motto. Do the best you can and trust God with the rest, right? That's what our motto is. Do the best you can and trust God with the rest. I hope you have a phenomenal day on today. I look forward to you accomplishing everything that you need to accomplish. God bless you. Love you all so much on today. If you are on Clubhouse, I want you to go out to Clubhouse. You can follow me there. Every once in a while, I open the room up to have dialogue in Clubhouse. So I look forward to being able to connect with you in that way. Other than that, my brothers and sisters, I pray that God blesses you in your day. Thank you for all those that gave me a birthday shout out. I appreciate that. Good looking out. I had a phenomenal birthday, a great time, gifts, and just, man, it was amazing. And I just thank God for the cake that I had this weekend too. But God's been amazing. My family's been good to me. And I just thank you all for your words of encouragement and birthday wishes that you sent me. So thank you all for that. I pray that God continues to give you strength, continue to provide you with wisdom and the energy to go after everything he's placed upon your heart. I look forward to seeing what God's going to do. Feel free to reach out whenever you need to, and I'll do my best to reply to you, because I believe that what God has in you is deeply important. And if I can do anything to help you get where you need to go, that's what God has put me on earth to do. God bless you, my brothers and sisters. I look forward to connecting with you on next Monday. Until then, I love you, and I look forward to what God's going to do. Peace and blessings.